Dennis Eklund in game 2. And Eklund starts by leaving a spare.
Yeah, that should be a straightforward single pin, and is.
So now Svein Åke, who started with 5 in a row in game 1.
Well, he rolled 10 strikes in the whole game, so he was, I was going to say he was well lined up, but unfortunately he's flush through the face of that headpin there. Leaves the 4 and a 7 standing, which should be a spare.
Oh, but it isn't.
Crikey. I don't know what he did there. Just had it all straight at them. Yeah, to take advantage, and does.
Yeah, brilliantly done. It's just what you need off the back of your opponent's open frame, is to strike yourself. Now, how has that open frame affected Svein Åke? It was almost harder to do what he did than get the split, wasn't it?
Absolutely right, Wayne, yeah. Comes back with a better shot. It's light on the headpin. Leaves just the 2-pin standing. Spares that one all right. 10 pins adrift after a couple of frames.
Can Eklund build on this?
Well, you'd anticipate pretty high scores in game number 2 from having seen all those strikes roll in the first game.
Oh, that's a horrible split.
Crikey, high through the headpin.
Well, this is probably going to be an open frame now for the Swede, and it is. Let's Svein Åke right back into it. Strike's going again. Yes, he can. That's his first strike of game 2 for the Norwegian.
Yeah, that's better. Back on the line, he was shooting on the first game. As I say, he shot 10 strikes, so he's well dialed in. Eklund rings an absolute solid 10 in the corner. Just trying to get over that open frame in frame number 3. Makes the spare nicely.
Svein Åke looking for a double. Open frame spare strike so far in his first 3 frames. Needs to get those combinations going though, Svein Åke. Game up, remember, after 259. And he gets a strike, makes it a double. And has a slight advantage of, what, 6 pins after 4 frames.
Eklund back on for 10. Still hasn't made a double. That's what you have to do if you're going to win these types of championship matches. You've got to know how to throw a double or 2.
Well, he's missed the headpin again there, Svein Åke.
Well, that's very unusual, isn't it? I must admit, 2 strikes in a row, and he's missed the headpin, so something wasn't quite right.
An open frame on the back of a double. Well, that's really disappointing for Svein Åke, and well, what an extraordinary game this has turned into. The 2 of them couldn't miss barely in the first game. Struggling a bit now.
Oh dear, and that's a 4-9 split. Dear oh dear. That was very close to being a strike. Leaves the 4-9 split, which is makeable. It's going to be very accurate. He's got to hit this 4-pin with the ball very lightly on the left-hand side, try and bounce it across into the 9. It does go, but it's pretty difficult. He really can't afford another open frame. It would be his second one of the game.
And it is. It is an open frame, and he's under 100 through the first 6 frames. 96 scored for Eklund. Can't hit back with a strike though. Svein Åke has this spare.
Well, he also is pretty much under 100 as well after 6 frames, which is crazy by comparison to the first game.
Yeah, massively inconsistent performing from both players. Strike again, heavy through the headpin once more from Dennis Eklund.
Well, what both of these players have got to do is sort of draw a line behind the 6th frame and say, OK, we're close, there's only a few pins in it. Let's start from now, let's get some strikes going, let's string 3 or 4 in a row and hopefully run out winner of the game.
It's effectively a 4-frame match, isn't it, for Svein Åke to take away the title and for Dennis Eklund to take it to a decider.
2 strikes to open for Sven. Two on the right hand side. It's the 6 and the 10 pin.
No mistake this time.
Yeah,
Just a pretty easy spare, didn't he, earlier on in the game?
It's not spares that these guys need, actually. Well, Dennis thought that was good, and you heard him shout. Ran the strike out along the approach. It was a great looking shot. Svein Åke must strike here.
Oh, he hasn't.
Dear. I mean, it was a good looking shot right in the 1-3 pocket. Leaves the 10 pin standing, and it can only be a spare.
It's unbelievable, really, Cass, isn't it? 10 strikes in the first game. His only strikes in this game in frames 3 and 4.
Yeah, something's really gone wrong with the where the ball is reacting for them, and they're not carrying these corner pins. Dennis leaves another 10 pin in the corner. And spares it.
Well, it couldn't be tighter.
Well, maximum score for Dennis Eklund is 186 if he strikes out. Oh dear.
Completely misses the head pin again, Svein Åke.
Ball just holds out in the oil, doesn't it? Just not making it back up the hill to the pocket. Certainly not driving through and carrying anything out.
1 or 2 Norwegian heads in hands in the crowd there, and it is another open frame for Svein Åke. That is quite extraordinary. The 3rd open frame.
And his maximum score could only be 173 if he strikes out. Well, this is just absolutely crazy, isn't it? Dennis Eklund, a spare and a strike here, will shut out Svein Åke. He'll have 175 and he'll shut out, so he will have won. So a spare here and a good shot on the fill ball. Well, that's the spare. You can see if he strikes here, he's 175.
And he does strike.
Well, that's the second game because he shut out Svein Åke of Norway.
And we're heading to a decider. Unbelievable. 175 after what we saw in the opening game. You wouldn't have ever imagined that that would be enough, and it looks as though it's going to be another open frame. A 4th open frame for Svein Åke. It is 1-1, the decider after the break.